Oh, before we get started on the sermon, I did want to announce my poetry book that I wrote recently is now available for pre-order. I have my degree in poetry, actually. You might be like, how did Unicole Unicron become a cult leader? And the answer is that I started with a poetry degree. um, and I was very cynical, and that's going to lead into our sermon. I was very cynical, and for a long time I thought that art couldn't come from a non-cynical place, especially poetry. For me, when I was younger, I felt like all good poetry was coming from cynicism, except for William Blake, who somehow just killed it with duality. Shout out to William Blake. But for me and my poetry, there has always had this like cynical edge of what is going on in the world and like where is my position in it. And this poetry book has that, definitely. It also has hope. So it's sort of walking the line between cynicism and hopefulness. And it's very funny. It's a very funny poetry book. And I'm really proud of it. I haven't actually written a lot of poetry since I graduated with my degree in poetry quite a while ago. And I had one book that I wrote that is not currently available. And this book is basically the first fully published book that I'm going to have. So if you're interested, it's an interesting read, and I love the support. It's available for pre-order on the Etsy, on Unicult Supply Co. Also, we're probably going to be switching over to Shopify soon, so every time I say Etsy, just know I mean Unicult Supply Co. Okay, today we're going to be talking about cynicism into hopefulness. And if you're taking notes, we're going to start incorporating taking notes a little bit more with Cam Church. So if you're taking notes, go ahead and just maybe right now take some time to write down your thoughts about cynicism. Maybe you agree that cynicism is something that is required for art. Maybe you feel like cynicism is just the natural way to look at the world, and really just dig down into your own ideas about cynicism and ask yourself, what is it that I feel about cynicism? Where does cynicism serve me? And maybe just take a second to jot those ideas down. This is from a chapter in Fundamentals of Unicult. You can get this book on Unicult Supply Co. as well. If you're following along in your second edition, we are reading from page 58. So we're talking about the path to joy. For this series, we're going to be doing all of the steps in the path to joy. And the interesting thing about the path to joy is that the steps are in order and you can follow them that way, but healing doesn't happen that way. Healing happens in a way that is completely a mess. You think you've gone past something, you come back to it. You think you've handled that part, you come back to it. It happens forever. It just keeps going. And so the path to joy, what we have to understand about joy is that it is an infinite ascension. Joy can only continue. There is no limitation on the level of health and joy that you can experience and that you can have. And that's an understanding that really changed my life when I was thinking about overcoming my depression. And I realized there are only so many levels of darkness, and there are infinite levels of light. And the reason the way that this works is that Earth already is in a very low vibration. If you look around and you sort of operate without thinking, you're operating in a very low vibrational way. You're operating in a responsive way where if someone makes you mad, you want to get revenge, and all you care about is money, fuck everybody else. Like, those are sort of the standard energies of society. And if you operate within that framework, it's a very low vibration. Additionally, if you're aware of those corruptions and you feel sad about it, again, you're in a very low vibration. So Earth has us trapped in a lot of ways to be in a low vibration. And for me, when I was depressed, I thought, you know what? We're in this cesspool of horrible energy. Everything you try to do, this is cynicism, everything you try to do that is good is actually corrupted. I thought, oh, you want to have love? Actually, they cheat on you, you get married, you get divorced, you hate each other, and you have all these things that are built up on lies. Oh, you want to get an education? Guess what? You go in debt. So I was really attributing all the positives and all the hopeful things to negative things. So they were taking away my hope. And I thought, you know what? I'm in such a low vibration. Everyone else is in such a low vibration. What can I do except follow that low vibration all the way down? That's what everybody wants me to do, right? Everybody just wants me to wallow in my sadness and wants me to be unhappy. They want me to pretend to be happy when I'm not. It's a very Twilight Zone feeling of like, oh, just drink your instant smile. It's a drag when you wake up and you don't have the support framework around you because you feel like there is no hope. So what happens when you explore that darkness? What happens when you go down and down and down and down and down and down and down into the lowest possible vibration? Well, it starts that you're cynical, and then what's below that? You've got super depression. Maybe you've got even some evil energy where you're like purposefully trying to harm other people. Where you're like, oh, well, I feel so bad, so I'm going to make other people feel bad. I'm going to manipulate other people to feel bad. You can follow that path. That's another low vibration. And if you follow the low vibration long enough, what happens? You end up doing what I tried to do, which is killing yourself. You're like, you know what? I am just filled with negativity. I literally can't even breathe. What can I possibly do? I want to just die. I want to experience the lowest possible vibration, which is non-existence, which is where your energy is flat, right? So I followed this down, and there's only so many places to go before just absolute destruction. That's because evil destroys itself. Corruptive energies corrupt. Death-seeking energies kill. When we look at the universe, we have to really understand the root energy of all of our motivations and follow it to its conclusion. When we follow negativity, cynicism, hopelessness, sadness, fear, pain, when we follow that to its conclusion, the only answer is non-existence at the end of the road. And it's a valid exploration. It's not fun. It's not comfortable. We each have in ourselves an internal compass that makes that feel bad inherently. This is our spiritual pain center. Like you put your hand in a fire, it hurts. We have a spiritual mechanism that does the same thing. When you follow lower vibrations, it hurts. But you can still do it. You want to burn your hand off in the fire? Okay, where does that lead? It leads to a charred up hand that you can no longer use. You want to follow destructive energy, you destroy your life. You want to follow negativity, you end up just wanting to die. So when I realized this, and I realized that that was really all that you can do, there's really not that many options in the darkness. And when you change your perspective and you look up, from the trenches, from the gutter, from wherever you are, if you're in this lower vibrational state, you look up and you see that joy and positivity, they might seem cheesy to you or whatever, but they are infinite. There is literally no end to the positive energy that you can cultivate inside your own body and your own life. And the higher up you get, the higher up you get. Joy creates joy. Love creates love. Creativity creates creativity. The root energy of the positive upward spiral feels good to us because we have an internal compass, which feels positive and feels good and feels bright and feels happy, feels joy. The reason why we use the word joy is to translate the concepts of vibrational energy and vibrational understanding into a pop culture mechanism that everyone can understand. It is easy to understand that your own internal compass feels good when you're happy and feels bad when you're sad. And these are directional vibratory experiences. So starting from this place of joy, starting on the path to joy, where the path to joy is curated and cultivated and created by me to take the average earth energy, this is like the neutral earth energy, you could be at any level, but this is going to help you, and to take it and to change it and transmute it through different steps into a state where you can access higher and higher levels of joy. This path happens forever. There is no final checkbox that you get, because all that can happen is that you can start levitating and start glowing and start radiating kindness, and you can teach others your ways, and you can ascend into higher vibrational energies. You can talk to higher vibrational beings. You can hang out with angels. You can get closer and closer to the energy of source energy, that which, we might call God, or the collection of all things, or that from which all life flows. There's really no end to it. So as you start to analyze and acknowledge all the different ways that your life is not joyous, you can apply the steps on the path to joy, to raising your vibration up and up and up into the infinite potential that you might want to experience. And something that is really interesting about Earth is that most of us and most of Earth is rooted in cynicism. And we actually don't know how to find solutions in this cynical energy. Most people, you can even just look at the political situation right now, most people, they only want to attack. They want to say they're coming at the situation from a fear-based place, and they're saying, well, this person is bad, so vote for the other person. And it's all coming from a negative energy of cynicism. Well, that's going to be worse, so do this. There is no hope. There's no hopefulness. Where is the hope? And we have to understand, why is hope important? And maybe write that question down if you're taking notes and think about it. Why is hope important? Think about it just for a second. We'll read from the book, page 58. We live in a world where if you have spent any amount of time becoming aware of your surroundings, cynicism is a natural result. There are many things which we have been taught about our world that are not true, and the power structures on this planet are designed in a way to keep people powerless. Even if you haven't become aware of these facts, you have been living in a world that is designed against your best interests. We all feel the pain of that. Cynicism is the idea that everything sucks. It's a negative lens through which to view the world. You may feel that this cynicism is an appropriate response to the world. Even though something seems appropriate, it is not necessarily beneficial. We must learn to reconstruct our minds to realize that the only appropriate response to the world is a positive and beneficial response. So let's start there. We have to start thinking about the benefits. When we're about to let go of something, when we're ready to let go of an energy, we get to dive into it and understand why we have it in the first place, how it is benefiting us. How does cynicism benefit you? I asked you to write that down at the beginning. Cynicism seems like a rational response to the world as it stands. And it is. It's very hard to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. It's very hard to live a life of abundance when you're born into a lower socioeconomic status. It's very hard to have loving relationships when oftentimes our parents weren't healed and gave us a lot of trauma to work from. These things are very difficult, and to be cynical is fair because you deserved better. You deserve better than this world. You deserve better than working and ceaselessly not being able to save or pay your bills. You deserve better than being a slave to the economy for the 1%. You deserve better than having had parents who traumatized you with their own trauma. You deserve to have a world that cares about you and cares about your motivations and cares about your pain and wants to support your dreams. You deserve that. That's what Unicult believes. That's why we're working together to create this world, because we each know that we deserve that world. And we love other people enough to know that they deserve that world too. What is it about this world that causes you to be cynical? That is a valid, important, essential response to the world. And that's why it's the first step on the path to joy. Your cynicism is an appropriate response to the toxicity and the corruption that we're currently in. Your own energy, your own paradigm, your personal reality, your daily vibratory energy, your mood, is the only thing that actually matters. Because that is the thing that filters the rest of everything through. If you're in a shitty mood, you could have the most amazing things happening to you and you could still feel shitty. What matters? What is your world made out of? Your world is made out of your thoughts and your ideas and your feelings about the world. Your personal reality is reality. So as you look into your own consciousness and you start to understand, well, yeah, the world does suck. The world is full of corruption. Why am I letting that make me suck? Why am I letting that make my vibration low? If everybody is crazy and trying to hurt each other, why am I letting that hurt me? If I can be above that, if I can actually grow beyond that. Cynicism is important because it allows us to see the corruption that's happening. And it's an essential component of raising our vibration into joy. Because if we never realized that something was wrong, if we never looked around and thought about the world, we never would look up. And what is hopefulness? Hopefulness is merely that activity of looking around and then looking up. Up toward the light, up toward hopefulness. And the reasons to do this are purely selfish. And a lot of Unicult ideology comes back to this selfish behavior of looking out for your own energy, looking out for your own joy. Because from that place of your own joy, you radiate brighter and brighter and brighter, and you affect everyone around you in a higher and higher vibratory manner. We're not talking about selfishness in the sense of putting other people down. We're talking about selfishness in the sense of unconditional love for yourself, first and foremost, and then unconditional love for others as well, because you realize with empathy that they deserve the same things as you. Cynicism is an important aspect of our reality because it gives us the knowledge and the understanding of how the world is operating. It gives us the knowledge and understanding of how our own consciousness is understanding things. If you're on a diet and you're like, oh, I'm just so fat, I just hate myself, I can't believe I keep eating this, and you have this cynical understanding, I'm never gonna get healthy, what are your behaviors going to be? What is your energy and your mood going to be? You're going to be in a really negative, really depressed place about yourself, your body, and your potential. But if you change that, and it's hard, I know. This is why we have a whole sermon on it. This is not a simple little thing that you do. But if you can change that to, I celebrate myself, I love my body, I love what my body is for, which is operating in this 3D reality, moving and dancing, walking, jumping, all the things that kids know their body is for. They think, wow, it's so cool, look, I can jump on one leg. And they do that for like 20 minutes, and you're like, how are you doing that? But why not infuse that energy? Wow, I can jump on one leg, I can jump on the other leg, I can do jumping jacks, I can run around, I can climb a mountain. Feeling into the hopefulness of yes, I can. Of yes, I am doing the good things. Changing that vibratory state of no action, into positive action is a huge, huge step for each of us that we get to uncover. Think about the most depressed person you know. It might be yourself, it might be someone else, someone who's just totally down in the dumps all the time, just saying, well, yeah, but that sucks, but that sucks. And everything you try to offer them, they shoot down. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting for people outside of them, and it's exhausting for them too. Because they're living in a state of inaction. They're living in a state of perpetual disregard for the potential of hope to exist. Now imagine if you could take that person who is just so depressed, who's just so cynical, and you could just flip the switch and all of a sudden they were filled with hope, like almost to a weird degree, where they were just like, oh, today's a beautiful day. I believe in my own power. I believe in my ability to change my life around. Wow, my house is so messy. I believe in my ability to clean it. Wow, my body's out of shape. I believe in my ability to get healthy. And they had no hesitation whatsoever. How long do you think it would take before their life was changed if they were staying in that positive energy? I would say one day. If they could maintain that, of course they would have to maintain it, but their life would dramatically change in just one day if they adopted that attitude. So I encourage you all to try this on, this idea of hopefulness as a costume. It might be garish to you. There is an aspect of cynicism which is cool, which I think it started in the 60s with like James Dean, and like he's like this bad boy and he was so cool, and people who smoke cigarettes and skip school and just think the world sucks and like fuck you mom and dad. That's cool energy because it's rebellious, and rebellion is punk as fuck. But you know what's even more rebellious than cynicism? Hopefulness. Hopeful rebellion. And it's good to have both, because maybe there are aspects of something that doesn't work, and it's good to be cynical of them and say, that actually doesn't work, but I believe we can find a solution that does. These are powerhouses. This is like the key to transforming your entire life. This is the key to transforming Earth. Bringing our energy from this state of inactivity, of negative energy, of everything sucks. It does. I'm not saying it doesn't. I live with depression. I still have it. It's part of my paradigm. I walk around every day like, and some days it's easier and some days it's harder. But I have all these tools to make myself happier. And I don't mean make myself, like drag myself along, but truly investigate, why do you feel that way? And truly investigate, how can I help you? I had a dream the other day that I was in a car accident and I was two people, and I saw my body in the car accident, and I pulled them out of the car accident and they sat on my lap and I just held them, and I thought, oh my God, what a precious person this is. And I can't say that I feel that way normally. But in this dream it was true, because I could see myself as a separate person. When you're trapped inside your own reality, it's hard to realize that you're a separate person. When I tried to kill myself, I had been fantasizing about suicide for a really long time. And I finally thought, why am I not doing this? You know, I actually was a very powerful decision for me to make, because I was like, you know what? Fuck everybody else. I have to do this for me. And it was selfish in that way. It was just selfish in a way that was detrimental to myself and to others. But that was a powerful decision to make. And when I tried to kill myself and I ended up surviving it, and I was so confused, and I was like, what am I supposed to do now? There's no more levels of darkness to explore. What the hell am I supposed to do now? I realized that I had tried to murder someone. That was a shock to me, because we get so trapped inside of our own consciousness that we don't realize that we are people, just like everybody who you might love, who deserve love, who deserve for you not to treat them badly, who deserve your care and protection, and for you to hold their bodies and to say, I love you. Who is going to love you more than yourself? Who is going to be there for you more than yourself? Who is going to understand you more than yourself? Maybe that's a sad thought. Nobody can put themselves in our brains. But also, it's a good thought, because we have ourselves in our brains. We have our own selves on our own team. So where are the places where you are cynical about yourself? Where are the places where you are cynical about your behavior? Where are the places where you are cynical about your potential? You are your cheerleader. You are the person who gets to understand love and be there for yourself. You are the person who is creating your reality. You are the person who is allowing thoughts and ideas to enter into your mind and then your heart if you so choose. You are the person who is standing up for yourself against other people's perception of you. You are the person who gets to shine and glow. Cynicism is very important. It's good to have it, but it's not good to dwell in it. It's kind of like suffering. Pain is very important. But if you stay in pain, that's suffering, and there's no need for that. You can actually ascend out of that by acknowledging why you're in pain and then healing whatever the pain is around, or setting boundaries, or whatever you need to do. Let's see what else the book says. See if we're missing anything. Yeah, so your response to the world, there might be an appropriate response like cynicism, but then you have to think, what am I doing in my own consciousness? What is this doing to my own vibratory state? Sure, it might be very clear, like if something bad happens to you, you might be like, well, yeah, I'm going to feel bad. Duh, something bad just happened. Okay, but what if you saw the positives in it? What if you saw the silver lining? How would that change your life? Are you required to feel bad about it? If someone dies, are you required to be like, wow, that's so sad. I'm never going to see them again. I don't believe in the afterlife. Everything's nothingness. Are you required to feel that way? Or can you be like, wow, that's so amazing. They've gone back to this higher dimensional reality and I get to be with them later in my life and I get to have them in my heart forever. And it's actually a totally divine happening. I'm not saying you can control these things completely, but your paradigm is very important. And can you prove something like that? Can you prove what happens after death? I don't think so. So why are you believing things that make you feel negative? We get to create our reality. We get to create our beliefs. No one can tell us what's true or not. They hardly even know anything, scientists. They study things and they've done everything they possibly can to understand things from a material perspective. But it's just one piece of the puzzle. And any good scientist will tell you we don't know. We're doing our best to guess. And you get to do that as well in your own life. Nobody has a better perspective about your own life than you. The transformation of cynicism into hopefulness is one of the most powerful things you can do on your journey to joy. This transformation simply involves changing the world could be better to the world will get better. It is changing I hate my life to I have hope for my future. To shift your consciousness in this way is a simple choice. Once you've decided to choose hopefulness, it's as simple as standing in that choice. I'm not saying this is easy. I'm not saying you check a box and you're done. You say, oh, I used to be a cynical person. Now I'm a hopeful person. No, I'm not saying that. I have a proclivity toward cynicism. I have a proclivity toward depression. I have a proclivity toward these negative things. And maybe that belief of me having a proclivity is negative. But for me, it's actually positive because otherwise I would feel really bad and really negative about falling into depression continuously forever. Maybe one day I won't. I live in a state of near constant joy. That's true. But I still battle. I still battle because I see the corruption in the world and it makes me feel cynical. And then I have hopefulness and I have idealism and I go out there and I say, hey everybody, we're going to change the world. And then I'm met with nothing, crickets. A couple of really amazing people who are like, yes, we see you, we believe in you. And we're like, okay, hey everybody, we're going to change the world. And then people get mad at us and they send us hate and there's trolls in the chat. We're like, ugh. It's a constant beatdown on this planet. It really is. But the only thing we have power over is our free will. And what is our free will? I talk about this sometimes. What is true free will? True free will is your own ability to respond to happenings in the world from a negative or positive perspective. Free will is your choice to be on that upward spiral or that downward spiral of hopefulness or of cynicism, depression, fear, and pain, or of joy and happiness, unconditional love and understanding. That's your free will choice. That's the only thing you have power over in this life. I'm sorry to say it. It sucks, in a way. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. To me, I get a little grumpy about that limitation. But from that place, from your true power, from your true free will of positive or negative reality, you get to dive wholeheartedly and say, okay, I might not have power to make this person love me. I might not have power to make this job hire me. I might not have power to change this person to be a better person. I might not have power to suddenly get $1 million. Okay, but I do have power to change my own paradigm. I do have power to go in an upward or a downward spiral. So why don't I put everything I have into that power? And from directing your energy into the power of hopefulness, you then transform your world. Maybe you get a better job. Maybe you do become, a millionaire. Maybe not. Maybe those things don't even matter. Maybe you're not meant to have them. It's an ego situation that is hard to let go of sometimes when the physical world doesn't match up with our expectations of what we feel like we deserve. But it's not about physical reality. It's about internal emotional reality, because that is where we have our power. That is where we have our capability. That is where we can transform our interpretation of the world completely. Everybody, all the spiritual people want to say, oh, if you do this and this and this, then you can get anything you want in the world. Maybe, or maybe not. And maybe you're not supposed to. This is something I'm speaking on this because I struggle with this. Maybe you're not supposed to get these things that you think you want because they represent a corruption of ego-based desires. The journey is within. The journey is internal. The journey is emotional. Do you really not have any more work to do on your own soul? Do you really not have any more pain or fear or trauma to understand and transmute and heal? Do you really have no more negative thoughts in your head? Do you really have no more judgment for any other person? These are the things that you get to work on. There's an unlimited list and work. There's unlimited work to do in your own psyche. So just focus your energy on that. Take care of all those things. And maybe then you'll be a master of reality. And maybe then you can just get $1 million or whatever you think you want in the material world. Or maybe you'll just be like, I'm in total peace and harmony and I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I don't know. Tell me if you're there, because I haven't reached it yet. Thank you so much for joining me for Cam Church. It is my honor to be here with you. We're calling Spirit of Uni into this chat to bless each of the members. Oh, there's also so now that you're taking notes for Cam Church, there's a little activity that Jackie came up with, which is like a little bit of homework. So for your homework, do those two things of, do those two things of figuring out how does cynicism serve you, and I can't remember the second question, something about hopefulness, and then maybe just write a little bit about, I think it's good to start with where cynicism has served you and where you could be more hopeful. So that's your activity. Thank you, Jackie, for that great idea. Spirit of Uni, we call you into this beautiful space. Bless all the people watching. Bless every Unicult member. in the past, present, and future. Bless all the work that Unicult is doing to change this planet, and help us please enter into a state of grace for self-love, unconditional understanding, and paradigm-shifting reality creation within our own psyche and our own consciousness. Uni bless.